Hello there.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are
We're
you?
back. I'm well. Um, I actually am well. In I've been thinking about that it's been a year, around this time that I've left the MTA.
Ooh, congratulations.
Right? Um,
How does it feel?
it feels good to like survive the year. Uh,
Survive the year.
yeah, it makes it like real and it makes it seem doable. Because
Mm-hmm.
I started this job at like 18, and
Mm.
a big part of like me starting this job was to like get away from like the house I was in and to like make money, and then also to use that money to like have experiences in life and stuff like that. Because my childhood, I didn't get to have those. So at 18, I got offered the option to go to college or start a job that will pay you to teach you all the things that they want you to know for the job that they want you to have. And like propel you towards that job. So it's just like, all right, well, I'll take it. And then
So
I think,
either go 4 years to spend money, need to go learn a
and
craft, or learn the craft now and start working now and making money.
yes, and do it in 3 years, and then still get the same job that they're training me to do, that they're paying me and training me.
It's an obvious choice.
Yeah, exactly. So now that I had that since I was 18 till about 30, 31, and I've had that for like 12, 13 years or whatever the case may be. I feel like that job was like more so my security, my
Mm-hmm.
financial like foundation for like my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in this like transitional period where I've like left New York. I no longer have that job. I no longer have like the podcast I was working on for like 2 years. And now I'm in a whole different space. So it's like transitional for me.
Yeah, it's fair to say that when it comes to transitions are one of the things that you've dealt with a lot.
Hmm.
Right? Transitioning from your parents' household to the the individual that you refer to as mom, to transitioning into your own space, to transitioning jobs, to transitioning careers, and now you've transcended to a whole other coast.
Yeah.
Impressive. So for
Hmm.
this session, I really wanted to focus on sexual healing because you had said that when you do enter your state of depression or your experiences of depression, right? That sex has always been an avenue that has created some sort of healing for you.
Yeah.
So I want to dive in a little bit more in that. How has sex created or fostered healing to you?
I guess it's because of maybe put it in the position to like be healing for me or be like a healthy space for me. Um, I know how like sensitive sex can be. So I've always wanted that space to like to be encouraging and to be healthy and to be good. So now that and if that is space is that for me, then I can always go back to that space because that's my intention with like being sexual
Mm-hmm.
and being sexy and stuff like that. So I guess I kind of gave sex that title. So it's like I don't know if people choose their vices or like they find out like, oh, this is something that feels good to me. But I guess like because knowing what sex is and how like intense it can be, like me choosing it to be like the healing space for me, I guess was how I viewed it. And then always going into it with that intention of it being healing, mixed in already with knowing like the connection I can have with somebody and it being a very like intense, intimate space always makes it like better. So I can um I guess I can not going into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to use this person's body as a coping mechanism, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I'm going through something right now, but this sexual experience is going to take me away from that for a second. And it's not like I'm using it to get away from that, but I just know that going into this experience is going to be a positive um relief in this present moment, and I can have that focused and intent because I know when I'm going into a sexual experience, I'm putting all the outside things like behind me just to focus on this person and this experience. And
Okay.
and it's funny because when I left my job, it was so because that was like my financial foundation. I was able to do so many things because I had the money to do it. It made me think like, wow, I'm not going to be able to like afford my experiences. Am I going to be able to like have the same sexual interactions like that I was having before? Am I going to have like partners of my standard and like my interests? Because like maybe I can't woo them and like do things because I'm not gonna have like the finance that I had before. And it's crazy, like I put all that pressure on myself and I still got mad pussy. I was still wilding. I was bugging, I bugged the fuck out. I didn't realize if I had more time now, it wasn't the
Uh-huh.
money that I was missing. It was the fucking time. And that also showed me like that. It's so funny because that's like more of like a reassurance and like a little bit of an ego boost. Cause like men, we do think with our money, um, not always first, but like it's a big component. So when the money was like gone, and I still had these women like supporting me, being there for me, like being a safe space, and then like they would still hold me down. It was just like, wow, because I made like not only just women, but like my friends and made these people like feel comfortable around me. Like the absence of money, the money just never defined me anyway. But the sexual part of me defined me a little bit more. And because I had great intentions with the, I guess, the sexual part of me, like the sex and the interactions that I had, like with my partners or whoever, like never died down because I've always had good intent. And that was more a part of me than the financial part of
Okay. A lot of questions. So
me.
which part of the sexual act was the most healing? Was it preparing for it? Was it cultivating the space for it? Or was it the act of sex itself? Was it the aftercare? Was it you um courting this individual? Which part of sex of the was the sex map, the sex cycle was the most healing for you?
I think the pleasing and the courting somebody.
The pleasing and the courting somebody. Talk that talk.
um one memory I do have um of when I was young was realizing that, well, I think I told you before, it's like making other people feel good regardless of my circumstances, and
Mhm.
being nice, being saying thank you, saying please, like just being a good kid. Because I'm thinking that if I be good things gonna come back to me. So that I guess that people pleasing aspect and everything when it comes to sex, my state in it is to please you as much as I can. And I'm hoping that your mindset is to please me as much as I can in this experience. So if I'm having like a bad day or a depressive moment, going into sex knowing that regardless of all this pressure and depression or sadness or whatever I'm going through that's on me, I still have the energy and effort to put out there to please somebody, and somebody leaving like happy or pleased or satisfied within this experience actually brings me some type of joy. Because I just knowing like how hard the world is and how hard it is on me, knowing that I can please and make somebody else happy brings my world.
Oh, oh, so you're rendering a service. You're like, hey, I know how hard the world is out there. You come to me and allow me to take care of you.
Yeah, I never told you the sexual like objective I gave myself in high school.
Sexual objective.
Yeah.
Please say more, sir.
um, so I always hung out with like girls more than guys when I was younger, obviously. So so I always enjoyed being around women, but as I'm
You
getting
have the
like
best stories, right?
yeah,
You learn
yo.
a lot.
So
Plus,
now
my
uh,
fault. God. I'm going back
okay,
into my own history,
yeah.
2 years. Like, wait, go ahead.
So in this time, like women or girls a bit in high school, they're starting like lose their virginity, having sex more often, and they're like talking about these experiences. And they're telling me about like the bad experiences, or just being in a group and they're talking about the bad experiences they had. And I'm just like, huh, wow, women out here just have losing like having bad sexual experiences and having bad like losing their virginity stories. Like, I can't be that guy. I'm gonna make sure that every experience that I have, or most of my sexual experiences are gonna be good experiences for women.
Okay,
And that was me telling myself, like, you know what? I'm gonna make the world a better place with my sex
through sex.
through sex.
Well, on behalf of all women, even though I don't speak for women, I'm assuming that they would like to thank you for your dedication to their
I was,
healing and
yeah,
their pleasing.
yeah, and it's crazy because dedication is the perfect word, because I literally took it to every single individual that I had sex with. It's like the mind state already going in of I'm gonna try and please you the best as I can, rather than I'm trying to get my nut out of this, like
Mhm.
changes how you interact with a woman, how you interact with a partner, how you like even have sex, because instead of just like going fast paced, now you're thinking of like using angles, using kind of a certain amount of strokes, a certain amount of speed, like touching, and that changes everything. And so like having the mentality of sex being a safe, healthy, pleasurable space makes it healing for me, because I can always go to this like little bubble and it's
Mhm.
just like, oh, this is comfortable.
You're such a people pleaser.
I am very much so.
Hmm.
Until this year. This year kind of changed that a bit. And that's what's like been fucking me up about like OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Because I I
Mm,
guess
you're
a
not
big part of
supposed
like
to.
my yeah, a big part of like my depression, or like um um going into depression this year, was like things happen to me, and because I'm trying to please people, I'm like putting it to the side, or I'm like not really like saying things because maybe I don't want to hurt people's feelings, or I don't want to say certain things, or whatever the case may be. And it's just like holding all of that in for so long, like going even back to childhood. It's like I'm not in the space where I can please anybody anymore, where I'm in that mentality. So I think like over the summer, Milah had asked me about my OnlyFans, and I was just like, I just don't. It's not that I don't feel sexy. I just don't feel like pleasing anybody. Like this is the part where I need to be here for myself, so I can't just like be out there like pleasing strangers. Now, in my personal relationship, like that's more direct. But when it comes to like just people who I may not know, it's like I don't have that energy. Like I have it all like within this realm, but it doesn't spread out too far, because I need to keep it centered, and I need to be here for myself right now, because I can't please anybody unless I heal and get better.
Great. I think your depression forced you to learn to take care of yourself first.
Yeah,
Because your cup was so empty that you had nothing to give to others. So you learn how to fill up your cup first in order for you to be available for others.
yeah.
Okay. Now, how do men receive you?
I was into men. I could answer. um, how do men receive me?
Do you know why I'm asking that question?
Yeah, no, I do know, because it's like, how do I say? It's like, all right. So the question is, oh, well, not the question is, but within that, I think men think the same thing. Like, how am I supposed to receive this?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to approach this? So it's like, yeah, I think men approach or receive me in like a very confusing way, because it's just like, I need to, especially straight men, it's like, I need to find out what folder this file goes in. I need to find out where I can box this thing in, and I just can't. He's got to be bisexual.
No, to me, so the question was more about with your disposition and your understanding of creating an experience for a woman. of being such a great listener and being such a great pleaser, most young men are not in that phase of their life at that time period, right?
Mhm.
They don't have that information. So now when you're speaking in front of them to such high regard for the woman body and one wanting to please and wanting to cultivate and experience that fulfilling to this woman as opposed to a male just seeking their nut.
Mhm.
How do they respond to you? How do they behave when you're around, knowing that all of these women technically want to be with you due to what you provide and not them? That
Um,
competitive standpoint, that thing to exist between men. How did you navigate that?
um, so I've never necessarily been around a lot of guys that like felt, I guess, necessarily competitive. Now it doesn't say that hasn't happened because it has happened, but most of my friends are mostly like strong in their own stance. I have a good sense of like friendship and who should like be in my life. So I tend to like have friends that are like secure about their own like interactions with women. And anybody else that sees me is just like, nigga, you just a hoe. And I'm like, no, I'm just just trying to please the ladies. Like, no, you're doing these things because you're getting them and you're a hoe. And it's like, all right, well, if that's how you feel, then cool. But there was one instance where I went away for a friend's birthday or something. It was like a group of us. And I had like I I would tell them like, I'm gonna talk to these women a certain way. They were prostitutes. I went away, we was talking about
I'm
prostitutes,
sorry,
and I was like, we went away, it was a friend's birthday or whatever, and like we were just gonna like
so
talk to the
are you talking about recently or are you talking about back in high school?
no, no, not back in high school.
Oh,
I'm just talking about one specific moment that happened in my past, like in like my 20s, where I
sex
went away with
workers, not prostitutes, sir. Sex workers.
uh, there's within the sex worker bubble, they were prostituted. No, they were real prostitutes.
Is that the ethical term?
Prostitution?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends
Or
on how you're doing it.
uh,
If it's transactional directly, hey, I'm giving you money because I know you're going to be giving me sex, yeah, that's prostitution. If it's like, then there's escorting and there's different ways about it. But I mean, I've prostituted before. So it's it literally is that.
okay. Back to the story.
So there'll be times I'm saying this story because there'll be times, and in this moment I told these men, even though like they're prostitutes, like you still have to talk to them a certain way. You still have to like approach these women a certain way. And also when if you don't believe like that's how you still have to talk to women a certain way, even if they're sex workers or not, you're gonna see the difference between what happens when I talk to them and what happens when you talk to them.
Okay.
And then right then and there, we saw that difference that night. Because regardless of like what you may think or what men think about me, the way I go about things is proven. And then when they see it, that's when their mentality and their mind state like changes. Like so initially off rip, it might be like oh, you're just a hoe, or you just doing whatever the woman wants, or like you just like catering to women. It's like
Mhm.
you could think all of that. And then when you see how women are always around me, how they always feel comfortable, I'm having all these sexual experiences, it's like then their mentality starts changing. And that also goes for like men who will be like, oh, he's bisexual or whatever, right? Or he's got to be queer in some type of way because he's comfortable around everybody and the women, and he wears crop tops, he wears very short shorts, he doesn't do all the usual thing men does, and then it's like you see him around all these women, it's just like wait,
Who's
he's doing
really
all
winning?
these things, and like women are still around him and he's still winning, and all men have one mentality, and then as time goes on like it can change once they see that I'm achieving the same goal that they want to achieve.
Correct. Correct. Right. They see the results and they're like, oh, it must be working. Right.
Exactly.
Because they get
Mhm.
to see the results. So with that prostitute, I think I recall that story because you did share it on IG. You
Hmm.
you did a live talking about it. And that's the first time I ever had a hypothesis diagnosis for you.
Mm.
At that time, it felt like you were falling in love with anyone that was not constant. That was not, what's the word? That was not really available to you. Right? Because
Hmm.
she's in another country. And here you
Hmm.
were back into the States and you were speaking on how much you're in love with her, how much she's the woman for you, and things like this. So to me, I always felt like you had a fear of intimacy where you would choose, well, there's seven types. But for you, I felt like you would choose the partners that you knew that things will never lead to a long-term relationship with
Close,
until
but
they.
actually, it's not that it's close. It's just it's you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily fear of intimacy. It's fear of loss of intimacy. So it's like it's kind of fear of like having it and then losing it.
Okay.
But when you have that fear, you tend to not even want to start the intimacy.
That's a fear of intimacy, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just to like detail more
I
of it.
got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
that makes sense.
right. So sometimes, like even with Mila, because we started off like we didn't even start off like long distance because she was in LA and I was in New York. It was a bit more comfortable because she's so far away. So like the intimacy could be there, but it's not as like um it's not as intense or it's not as immediate or we don't gotta like try like right now. That can like take its time or like even if it doesn't work out, like because she's so far at a distance, it's a
There was a
bit more.
built-in exit with her being far away, right? So if it
Yeah,
didn't work out, your heart didn't get broken because to some degree you knew that the long distance was going to be a challenge to the
yeah,
relationship.
right. And if the
Now,
intimate
mhm, go
if the
ahead.
intimacy has an exit strategy, then it's just like okay, but
You go
once I
for it.
yeah, but if it's one door in the room, then it's just like fuck, I gotta stay in this room and figure it out.
Yeah.
Fuck, intimacy is gone. I gotta walk right back out that same door. And then like that same door, everybody saw me go in that door, and everybody's gonna have to see me like exit that door
Hmm.
without the goal that I want, which is this person that I've wanted since like the fourth grade. But if the intimacy has an exit on the other side, nobody has to see like this didn't work out, or that I have this loss of intimacy now. Like I had it right there and now it's not there anymore.
Okay. Why is others seeing you without the intimacy such a major concern of yours?
Um, that is a good question. If I were to give an answer right now without thought, I think it's growing up without and then
There you
being
go.
seen without also. Because you could fake the funk sometimes, like, but when people see it, like, oh, we know you, bro. It's not like, does this nigga got it or not? Or like he's still outside. He's got it together to at least be outside. But now it's like, we know you ain't got no job. We know you ain't got it. We know you ain't getting no pussy. Like when people know, I don't know, something about it just like rubs me like uneasily.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Now, you've worked through that fear of intimacy, is now in a stable, loving relationship.
Right.
What were the challenges that you had to overcome?
Um, what do you like? I want to
So
answer it
you
right.
had a fear of intimacy or fear of loss of intimacy, right? You always
Mhm.
had an exit built for you to walk through, right? You
Mhm.
tend to get very, very attached to those that are very short term, right?
Mhm.
Now you're in a loving, healthy, functioning relationship. How did
Mhm.
you overcome that fear of intimacy in order for you to be present and cultivate this relationship?
Oh, okay. I before this relationship, I slowly started to understand that it's it's not a bad thing or it's not an embarrassing thing, and you can have like successful breakups.
Okay,
Uh,
ooh, successful breakups.
yeah, and it's funny. I was talking to Mila about this, I think yesterday, where excuse me, where I was telling her that I have a good amount of like successful breakups because I'm honest when I get to the point where I no longer want to do this.
Mm,
So instead of like dragging things along because I want this to work out because I don't want this intimacy or like this experience that we have to like fall apart, and I don't want people to see like I've failed at this relationship. I started thinking like, yo, it's okay that it didn't work out. Like nothing, the world isn't gonna fall apart because we no longer want to be with each other or like this intimacy isn't there anymore. It's just that I started viewing it as we're not compatible. It's just not a compatible thing. We tried, and it's okay to step away. And once I learned that and I started to like do that more, I started to realize stepping away makes the friendship with someone creates longevity there instead of like cutting everything off at that time. So now I get a bunch of women that still fuck with me in a certain type of capacity as like we can still be cool, they'll still look out, they'll still retweet my shit, they'll still share, they'll still support because I had a successful breakup with them because I didn't fear the loss of intimacy anymore. So now that I get to this point where I'm with Mila, I told like my mentor slash father figure this, that
mhm.
I've been chasing like this intense, amazing, great love, and now that I finally have it, it's not actually that. It's actually more steady. It's peaceful. It's calming, and it's like a healthy space that you can make whatever you want to be there. So with the practice of realizing like the loss of intimacy doesn't mean the end of the world or it's not embarrassing. It just means like lack of compatibility there. And you don't have to be with this person. You don't have to drag it and string it along because we're all adults. Like things happen where like there's context to life where things don't work out. Doing that, practicing, like telling people like, this isn't working out. We could still be cool, and getting to a point where this is my forever person. So I never have to feel like any shift in intimacy means that there is going to be a loss of relationship because we're in this together for the long haul or we're in this together for the forever. So I don't necessarily have to have this fear of loss within my relationship. I don't have to have this fear of like she's gonna leave me for somebody. And this is also why it's easier for us to like,
Fear of intimacy right there.
yeah. So none of these things have to be an issue anymore because I'm not worried about you leaving.
Yeah.
So now it's like, all right, well, now we can have like a male, female threesome. Because I don't got to worry about like what you may be thinking or where your thoughts may go with somebody else. Like, oh, you're here, you're not going anywhere. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed.
Wow.
So now we can like further go into different type of like pleasures or different type of experiences because like I can be
That security is there.
that security is there. And whenever I have security, I can like expand and do more, which is like when I had my job when I was got this job at 18, I had the security there. Not only did I have like the finance, but I had a job security. And I was like, this is amazing because I've never had financial security
Hmm.
all my life. And now I can like explore and expand and have these experiences. Now I have love security and I can explore and expand that more.
I also want to point out that this has been the first time ever that you've ever shared any insecurity regarding your passionate life.
Which part was insecurity?
You said now we can enter a space where we could try new things, and you mentioned a male female threesome because you no longer have that fear that your partner might leave you for said male due to their performance versus yours or etc.
Right. That is very good. And it's funny because I was with it
You are
before.
human. Mr. Sex God. It's nice
Mm,
to see.
wee little bit, but I was so I was with it before
Uh-huh.
because it was like this is something that's like gonna be pleasing for you, it's gonna make you happy. But now it's like this is something that's gonna make me happy, and I literally have nothing to worry about after it happens.
Nice. In what ways have you sabotaged your past relationships due to your fear of intimacy?
Um, I sabotaged them by I've sabotaged them by like directing them either directing them down a path so it doesn't get too like we don't get too close, or stringing it along because once we now have the intimacy, I don't want to like let it go. You see what I'm saying?
No.
So like if I get in a relationship and things aren't working out and it's just like we need to like cut this off, I'm still trying past the point of like you need to let this go or you need to let this person go, or I'm like throwing myself like into not necessarily into a depression, but I'm like worrying, thinking, going out of my way for somebody because I don't want to the
Lose
intimacy
them.
or this what we have, I don't want to let it go because I don't want it to look like a failure. So it's like you should have ended this a while back, which would have been able to at least make you keep a friendship. You wouldn't have wasted as much time and emotions, and you could have possibly had a different experience within this time that you wasted just because you didn't want to let go because you had a fear of like losing this level of like intimacy or love or life with this person. And that
Here's how that registers to me. You have
mhm,
unconsciously picked the wrong partners, knowing that eventually you're gonna have to break up with them because they were the wrong partners.
mhm.
Therefore, guaranteeing that there will be no success in that relationship, thus protecting your fear of intimacy. Which leads me to this question now. Did Mila choose you or did you choose her at first?
I chose Milo.
Slid into her DMs?
So the backstory of that is they were asking like who they should like have a guest in their podcast, and then me seeing them like on different platforms, like I would both Erica and Mila, I'm like, all right, they're cute, like they're dope. But then I would watch like Mila's like Instagram more. So I told it's funny, I told her this. I was like, when I was finally coming to LA to like be on their podcast, it wasn't like I was aiming to like for her to fuck with me, but I was like, I'm gonna position myself in a place where I'm gonna make her feel comfortable to like be cool with me and we could like fuck with each other. Hopefully, it's not. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna go and like that's my goal. It's gonna happen. But if it does happen, yes. So yeah, I chose her, and
Did you? You
no,
position yourself
I
for her to choose you.
yes,
She pulled
I
the
that's
trigger
it. Hmm?
and she pulled the trigger on you. Okay.
And she, and then after she pulled the trigger on me, and it showed that she liked me. Going forward, I'm the one that's was like, nah, fucks with you. I want to be in your life. I want to. And I kept going out of my way, but it's because initially, I guess, positioning myself so it's just like, I'm choosing you. Hey, look, I'm here to be chose. Choose me back. And then her being like long distance is like, oh, I can take my time with this too. It's like,
Built-in exit just in case.
yeah, it's like I set myself up in like different ways so it could be like, hey, I'm intimate with you, but it's really you're intimate with me. So I'm not really, hey, see, she kind of wants me. I don't have to be too intimate, too into it. Not, wow, that's a very good point that you make there. I never thought about it
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
did definitely position myself. And when
Uh,
I position myself in a certain way, it's easier to leave.
Say more about that, King.
Because like you just said just now, it's just like, yeah, I chose her, but I also kind of be positioned my way in a certain way so that I can be chose also. So it's like it's not too taxing on me. Like, yo, you made this decision and it didn't work out. And now you it's not like a you did this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too much pressure on myself. It's like, oh well, she liked you too. So she made that decision to be intimate with you, or like I, now that you're saying it, I don't know how to like explain it like too
No,
fully. I
I
was like,
get it.
fine.
I, I,
Yeah.
I, I get it. Are you uncomfortable with failure?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
In what ways?
Um, it's the losing part. I don't know if I took so many L's as a kid
Mm-hmm.
that it's like I could probably pinpoint it if I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely the losing part. And connecting it with sex, I don't feel like I take a lot of losses when it comes to sex,
Correct.
if
Yeah.
if any at all, in my
Yeah.
mind. It's like I'm pleasing, I'm doing better than most people. I'm speaking, I'm listening to you, but when it comes to like taking a loss or failing, it's just like this is uncomfortable. And I'm very ambitious. So it's like, I want this to work. Look at how unique this is. Nobody's doing this. Why would this not work? Why would you not want this? Look at it. Oh, you don't want it? Well, this is uncomfortable.
I'm understanding you better now.
Yeah,
And
losing or failing kind of feels like you don't want me in this capacity. I guess which then connects to like my parents not like choosing or wanting.
there you go, therapist. Good job. Good job.
Parent, mom.
And it also directly relates to your fear of intimacy, right? Because the last thing you want to do is be 100% in, and then that fails. Now you got to
Yeah,
pick that. Now you got to pick up the pieces of yourself, and even more than likely experience a deeper state of depression because of that.
yeah.
Nice. Good work
Mhm.
today, man.
Yeah. Last thing is like I think that the next thing that's coming up, that was a big thing, was like me leaving like my old podcast.
Oh, yeah, we definitely need to talk about the breakup.